some good opportunities, the kickers on Thursday night that you had mentioned we needed to kind of watch out for. What in these last couple of days have you how's the race between Spencer and Maddox kind of developed now?
They're two talented young kickers. There's going to be some bumps in the road. We just got to keep pushing them forward. We're going to have those guys compete until somebody definitively shows himself to be the guy, and then we'll move to that person getting majority of the reps. So, every time we come out, they're kicking 3 times a week. We're trying to get the most work out of them we can when they are live to go. So we'll kick 10 to 12 balls as a full specialist unit on our own, where we can film and evaluate those kicks so we can get more data and ability to watch them. Then those days they're live, we'll get them out to kick in front of the whole team. Usually that's 3 to 6 kicks depending on the time in the day. Obviously the kicks that are live in front of the whole team will be weighted a little bit more than the kicks we do on our own. The kicks we do like in a night practice or a joint practice will take a little bit more weight, and the kicks we do in a game will take more than that. They'll keep splitting reps, for now, at least through the Baltimore week, and we'll kind of evaluate things from there. Overall, Spence is kicking 87%, so combined from on our own and then into practice. He did better week 2 than week 1. We'd love for him, and we expect him to be over 90%. Our objective is for the starter to be over 90%, which we're not there yet. So we got to keep taking steps forward. He's really talented. He's had 2 misses in the last 2 weeks that both hit the upright. They're both good balls. Those are little things that we can get corrected. We believe and keep moving forward with him. Maddox is 74% overall, so obviously, we got to get him cleaned up on a couple little things, especially when he goes live. But he's talented. We just got to keep taking steps forward with him as we evaluate things through Baltimore.
Is there a timeline that you would like to know, or name the starting kicker?
There's not a timeline. Like when we know a guy for sure is ready to be the starter, then we'll move forward with that and get him all those reps.
Anthony Gould, obviously, what returning last year, kind of started out there down center for a while. What have you seen from him in terms of being a little more confident so far this year?
Yeah, really, we talked a lot about him during OTAs too. I think he's really handled himself like a pro. I think he's worked really hard, both at the end of last year and in OTAs. I think, as a whole, I think a lot of people would say he's having a really good camp, offensively and special teams. You trust his decision making, you trust his ball security, you trust his ability to be able to make a big play. I'm really high on him, excited to see what he can do in joint practice and preseason games. He'll get a lot of those reps early, in joint practice or early in the preseason game, and then we'll roll some other guys in there. But I just, he's a guy that you can really trust. He's going to work. He's going to make good decisions.
How often throughout these sessions is the defense legitimately trying to block? Like they're told, full bore, you can go ahead and attempt the block on the field goal.
On a field goal is not live.
Okay.
Right? So field goal will only be live in a preseason game.
Okay.
However,
not
on
the
punt,
joints next week.
On punt, we're trying to get a game rep every single time.
Okay.
To put pressure on guys, we're rotating a lot of guys in there to see who can be able to anchor and strike and do a great job in protection. So the punt return team is rushing as hard as they possibly can, trying to get as many game reps as we possibly can there. For field goal protection, to help those guys up front and not, bang on them too much, we won't do live reps until we go against another opponent.
Gotcha.
Coach, you had some very effective and aggressive strategies at the college level at Notre Dame and Cincinnati. What has been the biggest difference in changing it, especially toward the NFL?
I think there's a variety of changes. Obviously, the punt scheme as a whole is a change where everybody's doing a pro-style punt versus in college. There's different rules, so there's a variety of different ways that you can attack different punt schemes. Certainly in the NFL, every single week's the best versus the best. The best coach that, versus the best coach, the best talent versus the best talent. So certainly it comes a lot more to attacking matchups in the NFL versus there's a lot of different schemes, so you can attack some different schemes a little bit more in college. And certainly, with it being the best versus the best, there's a little bit to it where there's certain instances where you're able to be more aggressive. Right? In college, you could probably get away with being aggressive more regularly. Whereas you're trying to generate a return, or you're in a position where you have to play a fake, or there's an option for a fake near midfield or fourth and medium, you have to do some different things in the NFL. Certainly it's harder to generate a return in the NFL because the gunners are so talented if you just single the gunners. So that in order to generate returns, you're going to have to be able to vice a gunner or stack somebody out to do that, which then makes you a little bit less aggressive as well. Whereas in college, you can kind of get away with not having to do that and still generate returns.
Is there a quality you're specifically looking for in a gunner?
Gunner. So yeah, the very first thing, they've got to be able to win at the line of scrimmage. So we're looking at somebody that's got a great release, great explosion and speed, and then somebody that's got physical and toughness that can be able to finish the play. Obviously, a total package. Like an Ashton Doolin, a receiver who is strong, he's physical, he's got explosion, he's really good with releases, being a receiver, but he's also got the ability to tackle. Usually DBs, because they have that ability to finish through a tackle, are also guys that are really good at it. But you would love receivers who have also in their career played defense become very valuable there. Like if they played defense in high school or college and they have the ability to tackle and release, would be the perfect combination.